regardless of your views on No Child Left Behind, and there are definitely some pros and cons to this very controversial law, educators in the public school system are going to have to deal with the effects of this law until the federal government proposes some modifications. Just a side note, and we'll talk about this more in class, but in 2011, President Obama did propose some waivers to the No Child Left Behind law. We'll talk about that more a little later. Right now, let's transition and talk about some of the reading programs that you can expect to find in a public school. Now, regardless of where you end up, this is an important information to know, especially as you head into student teaching. Maybe God leads you to a public school or to a Christian school. Regardless, the reading programs that we're going to talk about can be modified and used in whatever school that God puts you in. So let's start with the first one. The first one is a developmental reading program. And this reading program is taught by the regular classroom teacher. And it's designed for most school-age children. So the developmental reading program is a program that takes place in the classroom on a day-to-day basis. It's the reading skills that the teacher is trying to teach to children. In the developmental reading program, it's important to provide students with many opportunities to read a variety of different texts. So all of those different types of literature and different types of books that you learned about in children's literature, this is where it gets plugged in into the developmental reading program. This is where we introduce students to all different types of books and literature. And because the more we can expose them to it, the better that their reading skills will become. In addition to the 5 elements that we discussed in the previous lecture, do you remember what those 5 elements are? Remember, they're phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. Those are the 5 very important foundational elements of reading. In addition to those, teachers in the developmental reading program also help students in these 4 areas. Automatic recognition of words on sight to aid fluency. So they help them with fluency. Use of structural analysis as word identification strategy to supplement phonics, knowledge of study skills, and other literacy-related understandings. So this is what happens in a developmental reading program. A corrective reading program is also taught by the classroom teacher. It's when they assist students who have just mild reading delays within the regular classroom. It's when the classroom teacher works one-on-one or in small groups with those students that have mild reading delays. And that's the corrective reading program. Then we have a remedial reading program. Students with moderate to severe reading delays receive instruction from a specially trained reading teacher. These groups may meet a few times a week, and there'll be small groups. There's more comprehensive assessment of the students' reading problems. So they're getting assessed a little bit more often to see if progress is being made. And then sometimes students work one-on-one with the teacher in the remedial reading program. And then finally, you have the clinical reading program. And this is designed for students with severe reading delays. In a clinical reading program, the clinician works with one student at a time, and it's very intense, and assessment is very extensive. And the remediation is very much highly individualized. So we're working with one student, one-on-one. We know their weaknesses, and we're targeting them very aggressively. Those are the different types of typical reading programs. Now let's talk about the types of reading specialists. First of all, you have a literacy coach. And the literacy coach promotes ongoing professional development and literacy strategies. The literacy coach works with teachers, coordinates school-wide literacy activities, and also works with parents. So the literacy coach is the person in the school who is in charge of professional development, helping teachers learn how to teach reading more effectively in their classroom. A reading teacher is a person with special training, and the training helps them address the needs of students with reading problems. In Wisconsin, there's a special license. It's called the Wisconsin Reading Teacher 316 license, and it's a special license that you can get to be classified as a reading teacher. Here are the guidelines for licensure for a reading teacher in the state of Wisconsin. So I'll let you look down through these, but basically you have to be in the teacher ed program, be approved teacher. You have to have completed 2 years of successful regular classroom teaching experience. And then there are a certain amount of credit hours that you have to complete in reading instruction. It's 18 graduate level hours. And then there's some other qualifications down there, including a portfolio. In addition to this, you could also be a reading specialist. Now, a reading specialist generally has graduate level education that includes a clinical practicum. Their job includes assessment, instruction, and leadership. And again, these are the requirements in order to be licensed as a reading specialist. You'll notice that you have to have experience guiding and directing reading programs in kindergarten through 12th grade. So you have to have quite a bit of experience to be classified as a reading specialist. And then also you have to have a portfolio to demonstrate that you have the competencies required. So those are some different reading specialists that you will come across in the public schools. And this may be something that interests you down the road after you have a few years of classroom experience. Maybe you would consider going back and working through some courses to earn a reading teacher licensure or even the reading specialist. All right. Well, we're going to stop there and we'll talk about more about this in class.